Mr. Devlin, welcome to Ways and Means for the very first time. So happy to have you here. We are looking forward to learning about both 178 and 125, but would love to start with 178.
Absolutely.
And if you could screen share, that would be great.
Oh, sure. One moment, please.
Okay, Sorsha's going to give you that ability. She's doing that right now.
Great.
And we do not need to know every last detail of every paragraph. We really just need like a high level overview of the bill and then anything that's related to revenue in there.
Absolutely. Oh.
Thank you.
And please let me know if you can see this.
If it could be slightly larger, my eyes would appreciate it.
Yes, of course.
Just slightly larger than that. Perfect. Thank you.
Great.
Screen width.
So, thank you very much for having me, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Tim Devlin, Legislative Counsel. I apologize. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so there's a bit of a frog in my throat. So please ask me to repeat myself if I'm not quite coming across clearly. Happy to do so.
Thank you for coming to work when you're not feeling entirely up to snuff.
Of course, it's that time of year. So before you have House 178, which is a bill entailing a notaries public in particular. I think it's useful just to start with the statement of purpose as introduced, as it adequately, in my opinion, really does sum up what's going on in this bill. This bill proposes to add persons employed by the Vermont Department of Corrections to the list of persons who can be commissioned as notaries public to perform notarial acts within the scope of their official duties and exempted from all regular requirements for notaries public. As you can see from this bill, there's actually very little language that is being amended. I've kept most of the bill language, or most of the statutory language in here to provide context where the changes really lay in. So this bill entails, I believe it's, let me just double check. Yes, 2 sections. One amends Title 26 VSA 5305, and the second one is just the effective date to be upon passage. Specifically, Section 5305 pertains to notaries public and the exemptions of when they do not need to have all their requirements, certain individuals, that is. Subdivision B, let's see, sorry. This is the pertinent part of the bill right here. If you can see my cursor scrolling over it. This subdivision 2B is where you'll find the pertinent changes, and simply adds the Department of Corrections to an already enumerated list of departmental employees that are exempted from obtaining all of the requisites to become, prerequisites and requirements to become a notary public. I'll just go through and read the pertinent section here. Starting on line 12, B reads law enforcement related. Persons employed as law enforcement officers certified under 20 VSA Chapter 151, who are non-certified constables, or who are employed by a Vermont law enforcement agency, the Department of Public Safety, of Fish and Wildlife, of Motor Vehicles, of Liquor and Lottery, now new language, of Corrections, or for children and families, the Office of Defender General, and the Office of Attorney General, or the state's attorney or sheriff.
And then my understanding of why this bill is here, in case anyone is wondering with bated breath, is that in a hypothetical universe where a corrections officer was a notary public separate from their corrections duties and was paying a fee to become a notary public separate from their corrections duties, now that they are able to become a notary public within their corrections duties, we might see a hypothetical loss of revenue for the middle of the Venn diagram with the people who used to be paying that fee and the people who now are corrections officers.
And the fee for a notary public is like $20.
Something like.
Somewhere around this, yes. And somewhere I have an email saying that there's a de minimis fiscal impact, right, Sorcia?
Yes.
Thank you.
Minimus, yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's going,
I will find the email as Tim finishes.
Right.
Okay, yes. Do people want Tim, can you tell us just sort of, the rest of the bill?
And the rest of the amendments are really just to degendering certain language in here, and that's it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, that's important. Would you like a motion on this, Madam
Would you
Chair?
like a
Or we're gonna wait for further information?
Do you want me to find the email about the de minimis impact first, or are folks good?
Give you a figure? No.
That's the one on 125. I actually don't have an email about that. My email is about the next one that has de minimis fiscal
my
impact.
gut would suggest that the number of people in the middle of that Venn diagram and the amount that we're paying by is de minimis. That seems not.
Would anyone like further analysis from JFO on this one? Cool, thank you. Appreciate that.
Nice framing.
May you say that on every bill. Okay, yes,
I have a question.
absolutely.
Why is it that they're exempt from any regulatory changes to or requirements? All these.
I'm sorry, would you please repeat the question? I just had a little difficulty hearing you.
People who are become notary publics through this process are apparently, they're exempt from the regular regulations for them. What's with that?
Well, it's not they're exempt from the regulations of the requirements of the responsibilities and duties of being a notary public. It's just really more the process for signing up to be one. They're exempt from.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I ask is I think there was a change a couple of years ago because I was a Board of Civil Authority and it used to be, do you want to be a notary or not? You said yes, then you were. And now you have to go through some training and things like this.
Right.
What are those?
As I believe today, you do have to fill out some paperwork. There is a short test that is involved. I don't know off the top of my head some of the other requirements. That'd probably be a question best answered by the Secretary of State's office.
So these people would not be subject to those requirements. They wouldn't have to take the test or do the training?
They're going to have to take the test or pay the fee, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Kim.
Yeah, no, they're not just restricted to their job as far as being a notary. They can be a notary on their own.
Sorry. I'd be happy to speak to that as well. This testimony provided by the Secretary of State's office indicated that actually to the extent which they could provide notarial acts or services would be limited to the scope of their job. So employee for the Department of Corrections could not then on off hours or on their private capacity perform notarial acts. They would have to then, if they wish to do so, they would have to go through the regular process.
Which actually leads me to believe that there would be even less than a de minimis fiscal impact, because if someone is interested in notarizing in their private time, they would still have to go through that process. Okay. Anyone interested? Would you like that thumbs up to turn into a motion? Representative?
I would enjoy finding the proposal favorable
I would second that.
on the theory that, yes, on the theory that there is almost no fiscal impact on the state of Vermont.
Wonderful. So that is H-178 that you are finding favorable.
It is.
And Representative Sims has seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if the clerk could please call the roll.
Andrews, yes. Anthony,
Yes.
Beck, Brannigan,
Yes.
Demrow,
Yes.
Maslin,
Yep.
Mattos,
Yes.
Odie,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Canfield,
Yes.
Kornheiser,
Yes.
1101.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Devlin, if you could please tell us about 125.
Of course. This bill is a somewhat larger bill, and let's see, I believe there are 3 documents I'd just like to bring the attention of the committee. What I am sharing is a summary of the bill. Also posted on the committee's webpage is the bill itself as introduced, which runs approximately 140 pages, and an amendment to it, which is not a strike-all amendment, but actually just has 3 instances of amendment to the bill. The most substantial of which inserts a summer government accountability committee, which does have some fiscal impacts and per diems, I believe. And then, and then returning to the summary of the bill itself, with Chair's permission, I think it'd be maybe best to get an idea of what the bill entails just by reading the introductory comments from.
Oh gosh, yes, please. Let's only stay on the summary here. Thank you.
So in essence, this bill serves as a vehicle for the Sunset Advisory Commission's 2023 recommendations. As currently written, the bill will either repeal or prospectively repeal 11 different boards and commissions and will amend one of the commission's provisions. The bill sections are organized by title, if you care to look, and 100 of the 20 pages out of 140 overall really are concerned with the repeal of 2 different boards. 1, the Board of Health, and 2, the Natural Gas and Oil Resources Board. To provide further summary, I would say that the board being repealed here were largely defunct already, and we're not really meeting. Although some of them are still meeting, but we're just, I think it was 2 or 3 of them are introducing sunset dates to them. So may cease to exist in, let's see, 1 is 4 years from now and 1 is approximately 7 years from now. I'll just pause there. Madam Chair, would you like me to go through the summary at all, or?
I guess I would ask if I understand right, that all of these committees were already sort of non-functioning and defunct other than Government Accountability Committee?
Yes, that is correct. The Government Accountability Committee in particular will be repealed. It is still performing its duties, but it will be repealed and essentially kind of replaced by a temporary summer version of it. They will be tasked with kind of re-examining the mission and proposing possible new legislation for what was originally intended for the Government Accountability Committee to execute.
Just happy to say that I certainly support boards and commissions that don't meet or are no longer necessary to be formally sunsetted, and also am very glad to see in this the summer study committee to make sure that we have sort of long-term accountability measures in place, as well as I think I understand, evaluation of the per diem model and whether that's working to ensure access and participation in our boards and commissions. So see that as a valuable investment in making sure that people can participate and weigh in on important government matters.
As someone who might be more attached to the Government Accountability Committee than maybe anyone else in this building, I am excited for the opportunity this summer to rethink it into a more accountable and useful committee. And in an email from JFO, it is a negligible fiscal impact, if any, this bill. Yes.
It's really the per diem and expense that will fluctuate almost negligibly, because many of these are moribund anyway. And so if they sunset out, they haven't been costing the state of Vermont money for quite a while.
Which is really more of an appropriations issue than a Ways and Means issue.
So
In a way, yeah.
the Board of Health, what's going to replace them?
The Board of Health, their duties and functions will be transferred to the Department of Health and the Commissioner of Health.
And the Natural Gas and Oil Resources Board?
That board, let's see, the prohibition on, sorry, let me go over to my summary real quickly, go down to that. It's the Board of Health. One moment, please. So the repeal of Natural Gas and Oil Resources Board and statutory framework appear in section 135, page 85. This is one of those two large sections in here. This will repeal the board itself, but it will also keep in the prohibition language for hydraulic fracturing in the state. So the ban on it will be maintained. However, the board will be dissolved, and with that, all the other really responsibilities that would have anything to do with the subject matter would be left to the Agency of Natural Resources.
Thank you.
Anyone else? How do people feel about this bill? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you.
Second. Second.
Representative Andrews moved that we find H 125 favorable. Representative Demrow seconded. Any discussion? If the clerk could please call the roll.
Andrews, yes. Anthony,
Yep.
Beck, Brannigan,
Yes.
excuse me. Demrow,
Yes.
Maslin.
Yep.
Matos.
Yeah.
Bodie,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Yes.
Taylor, Canfield,
Yes.
Kornheiser.
Yes.
1101.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Devlin, for jumping over here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Saoirse, is there anything else we could do before you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Go forth and prepare for your many floor report.